A lot of them said the same thing about Adara Bioyo. He's too slow. He's not going to be good for that PSG game. Now, yes, a top country, every top country in the world wants, starters from, top clubs across the world. That's what makes you a top national side. At this point, do we have players, even as Tosin Adarabioyo is, not really a first-team player, or yes, not the first choice centre back, if all conditions, were equal in Chelsea. If Tosin Adarabioyo is not, in that particular first team, do we have a player in his level at this point in Super Eagles? No, we don't. No, we don't have anyone at this point. So very well, he's going to be an addition to the Super Eagles. Even though I'm not comfortable with the fact that he's still playing with the Super Eagles, he's really not showing that he wants to actually put on a jersey. But the fact is, we don't have a player at the centre back at this level now. So do we need him? Yes, we do. So I don't think what he's saying about Tosin Adarabioyo is actually correct at this point, because at this point, the Super Eagles, our national team and the quality of players have really, we've really retrogressed over the years, and we can now start building quality from the level of Tosin Adarabioyo coming back to the national team. If we start having players like Tosin Adarabioyo, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman playing for top clubs in Europe, being regulars or being key players in their team, or being players who they definitely know that at the end of the season they are likely going to play at least 20 games in top clubs, then we can now say yes, we have a very strong team in the world. So I don't know why he's coming out to talk about Tosin Adarabioyo. The only problem I have with Tosin is his lack of commitment for the Super Eagles.
All right, let's before I go over to Maiwa, let's take a quick breather and of course reassess and come back. You're still watching Locker Room. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this timeout.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching the Locker Room at Voice of the People Television, and we're just talking about the situation of Tosin Adarabioyo. And Efe Ambrose, this former Super Eagles defender, has said that Eric Church should be careful that he's not a big game player. But Ikechukwu says that he wants to disagree with Efe Ambrose. But Maiwa, what's your take on Efe Ambrose's stance on Tosin Adarabioyo?
Well, we have complained, several times that we need players who are playing regularly for their club to be part of our national team. We don't want players, that are not regulars for their club to be part of our national team. That's number one. Number two, Tosin Adarabioyo has not been that consistent, especially in big games. He's always missing in big games for Chelsea. And these games that we are talking about, they are very big games. That's number one. Number two, what's his name now? Osho, the one that participated in the qualifiers under Eguavon. You remember how he struggled.
Yeah.
This is a very key position for us. And we know how we struggle sometimes when the regulars are not available. Is this the appropriate time to be testing out somebody who is not, who is big game shy, who doesn't play in big games, and we know how important these games are? That's another point that we have to look at. Another thing is this: why are we looking at Tosin Adarabioyo at the moment? I mean, I don't want a situation where I don't want a repeat of Soje situation whereby other people qualified Nigeria for the World Cup, Shola Amobi, Fetobere Soje, and a couple of them were taken to the World Cup. And what was the result? So the bottom line is this: Tosin Adarabioyo has not been part of the qualifier. He should not come at the table to be part of the Super Eagles. We have been begging this guy to come and play for us. Now he has seen that there's no prospect for him in England. He wants to come to Nigeria. I would rather have us field player from the Chan Eagles in that position than have Adarabioyo. I think I want to go with Efe Ambrose. I think I want to agree with him. And apart from that, he has not been part of the process in all this while. Why is he interested at the tail end of the World Cup? As far as I'm concerned, Tosin Adarabioyo should not be part of our national team, and we should not be looking at him. We have enough players that are seeking the opportunity to be part of the national team. Let's look at those players. You cannot tell me that out of 400 players, we cannot get 2 or 3 defenders that will be able to step into the central defensive position for Nigeria in our league. I think we should look inward. We are going to get a replacement or a player that can step in the Nigerian league rather than wait for somebody, that has considered Nigeria, that has disrespected Nigeria with his attitude and has considered Nigeria as a second choice. Enough of making Nigeria a second choice to all these foreign-born players that don't see Nigeria as an option, that don't see Nigeria as their first option, but rather a backup option.
All right. If Ambrose came with stick, but Maiwa brought Koboko for the beating. It is what it is. I think if Maiwa is in the room where they are deciding to say Adarabioyo's face, you say, please, put that name aside. I don't want to hear that name. For now, Eric, calm down. Yeah. We have players. Come to Remo. We have players.
Maiwa has declared Tosin Adarabioyo personal non grata.
Yeah. No.
No, I mean, see. The thing is this. See, in as much as we have a horrible, federation in terms of the administration, we've not been able to, grow properly. It's high time we begin to take our stand. We cannot continue to have national team filled up of people who are making Nigeria a second choice. We cannot. Yes, Admiral Lukman did so well for himself, and just for that is, I'm really happy for him. He's able to turn his career around. But what he did, as regards Nigeria, he only came to Nigeria because he didn't have an option in England. And we should quit having such people in our national team. Admiral Lukman is a fantastic player. He's one of the best players that plays for Nigeria at the moment. But we cannot continue to have people who make Nigeria as a second choice represent us. They will not understand the passion. I mean, you can't compare the 94 team with the team that we have at the moment because most of them do not have genuine connection to the team. I mean, it's high time we stop all this importing players that make Nigeria a second option, and we expect them to represent us very well. It just does not work, and it also affects our own development. I mean, what is stopping our national team from having 6-7 home-based players as part of the national team? We should stop looking at. I mean, I'm not even sure we're going to qualify for the World Cup. Why not? Let's forget about 2026 World Cup. Let's plan ahead for 2030. And let's start a project that will integrate our, Nigerian-born players, our players that are doing it, that are killing themselves week in, week out in the league. Let's have a program that will integrate them into the national team. These guys leave Nigeria, they go abroad, and they perform well sometimes. Are we saying they are not good enough to make the national team? We should stop importing people who make us a second choice. It just does not make any sense.
All right, definitely it is what it is. And anyway, Mario has already given his decision. Who am I? We'll go against the Oracle. The Oracle has spoken. Anyway, Nigeria international forward Kelechi Iheanacho is back in training with Spanish La Liga side Sevilla, but not with the first team after his recovery from what the club said was a case of indigestion. Back from a loan spell at Middlesbrough, which didn't go according to plan, the 28-year-old Nigerian, who has a year to run on his deal with the Spanish side, isn't sure of his future at the club. He joined on a free transfer last summer from Leicester City. Maybe he should consider the NPFL. I think Eimba is recruiting, and Remo Stars will want to play in the CAF Champions League next season. What do you think? At least you come on loan and rejig himself, play in the Chan, and sell himself.
Yeah. So the reason why, players who perhaps must have lost touch with, their quality in Europe go back to their countryside. A special case to mention is Brazil. It's the fact that they have a league where, even if they cannot pay as much as they pay in Europe, they will pay you, you most likely earn a very decent wage that is mostly very close to what you can actually earn in Europe. Now, if an Iheanacho who earns, over £100, over £100,000 a week in Europe, how do you expect him to come to Remo Star where their budget for a season is not even up to £100,000 for the players? These are the conversations. So coming back to the MPFL is totally ruled out. It's never going to happen for him. Now the question is, does he still have quality to play in Europe? He still does. I think he really needs to now focus on himself, and because of course there are reports. There've been reports of the kind of lifestyle he lives as a player. I think that's one of the reasons why he actually dropped form at some point. Now I think a couple of weeks ago Sevilla came out talking about Kelechi Iheanacho, and how he's been too slow and perhaps very lazy. And Iheanacho also responded by actually where he dropped the video online where he was actually training, and then he was showing that he's still very much active, just like what Neymar actually did in response to Paris Saint-Germain when they actually said he's too fat. Now, when stuff like this happen, it shows you that there's a crack between both parties, and when that happens, certainly one thing is inevitable. What's inevitable is the fact that the said player will definitely leave the club side. The club will never leave, their house for the player. Now, Kelechi Iheanacho has found himself in that particular position. He's definitely bound to exit Sevilla at this point. And now the big question is, which club in Europe will be demanding for his service? A player who has not really been active, over almost 2 years now. We've not really seen anything about Kelechi Iheanacho. Even the national team, he doesn't really get call up as expected. When he even gets the call up, he doesn't even play. So his stock has really dropped. Now the best bet for him right now is to actually go to a championship side. Perhaps he's going to actually start from there, get back his act together, and then come back to who he's supposed to actually be. Kelechi Iheanacho is still very much 28. This is supposed to be the peak of a player's career when we talk about attackers. And he still got about at least 2-3 years to actually give, at the highest level. Yes, this season might just be that season where he needs to actually put it together and then start, firing on all cylinders again. As far as Sevilla is concerned, he's done, and I think he should start planning his next move. Maybe Birmingham City, or one of those championship side that is actually, having a very good project and having a good plan to come back to.
Or those who just came to the Premier League.
Or those ones who actually just came to the Premier League, or those ones who just left the Premier League. He just needs to actually find the right spot. Even if it's not even in England, he can actually go to Turkey. One of these top clubs in Turkey, and of course, other leagues.
So for the Saudi league, are not interested. It's not marketable at the moment.
Absolutely. So he can also even go to countries like. Belgium, to actually, start all over again. So he still gets a lot of options. I mean, he still what he's done over the years, can still very much speak for him. But he needs to actually live those lifestyle that actually put him in this position. He needs to come back, because this guy is supposed to be the man he's supposed to be leading Super Eagles, at this point in terms of because Iheanacho is a very good player. I mean, he's very, very creative, and he's got a very dangerous left foot. He can actually shoot from different angles. So he is a player that is he would have been a very big addition to the Super Eagles. But it goes back to what we were saying a couple of days ago. The passion is actually not there. When these our players get to where the money is, they just leave everything and they start enjoying their life, because they know, I mean, I've made it. My family is settled. So what else am I killing myself for?
What else is he killing himself for? I will tell you that Iheanacho is not killing himself for anybody. He's just taking his time. Of course, I would advise that he should leave the Nollywood ladies. He should leave those BBL alone and concentrate on his football. Maybe some. And he should go back to where he used to buy his soap. That soap that he was using, senior man soap. I don't know, maybe the soap has finished.
That soap that gave Leicester City.
Your is no more. I don't, but I buy one. Maybe Irabiji, you can talk to people there so that maybe connect it to a new soap. I don't know.
Well, maybe you should come and contact him. I'll take him to Rugby. I know some places in Rugby that I can visit, and things will change. But on a more serious note now, I think the thing is since he left Man City, he has been on a steady decline. And leaving Man City the way he left Man City, a lot of people attributed it to him not succumbing to the agent Guardiola wanted and the rest of that. However, if you look at his trajectory since he left Man City, you know that Guardiola was very, very correct. The work ethic is very, very poor. And that is the reason, Sevilla was very frustrated with him. That's why they had to chase him away to go back to England and, do a loan spell with Middlesbrough. What happened in the loan spell? He couldn't cut it in the loan spell. Now he's back in Sevilla. And they're already complaining. The season has not even started. They're already complaining about his attitude in training. This has to do with attitude. Iheanacho is 28. According to the papers that we have, he's 28. He needs to put in the work to be able to get his form back. Jamie Vardy did not get to his peak, until his late 20s. And look how Jamie Vardy did for over 10 years. He stayed consistent for over 10 years. Jamie Vardy is 39 now. He stayed consistent for over 10 years. Iheanacho can still do it, but he needs to put in the work. And on a more lighter note, he's a single guy. He needs to caution himself as regards, toying around with Nollywood, this thing. Leave Nollywood alone. Focus on your career. You still have about, 4 or 5 years to earn good money if you focus on yourself and put in the work so that, it comes together on the field of play and bigger clubs want to share money for you and you have more money to spend on, the Hollywood parole.
But Maya, what is wrong with a man watching Nollywood? What is wrong with watching Nollywood?
You should leave all those BBL alone.
He wants to watch.
Well, sometimes.
I mean, some persons are not Hollywood fans. Some persons prefer to watch Nollywood.
Okay.
Well, if you take the job of where you came, if you take that job more seriously than your actual job that pays you money, you will get the result.
He might actually be looking at a career after retirement to start acting movies. So perhaps that's why he's actually rolling with the big wigs in Hollywood. Jerry.
Anyway, maybe he's his pimp. So you understand, he's trying to cover up for his agent. So I don't know.
And the bottom line is this: when the Ras Matar sees, everybody will run away. I remember a particular guy, and the guy that plays for Watford, I think it's Isaac Success. If I'm not, maybe
Isaac Success. Yes,
Isaac
Success.
Remember
was always found in those joints.
Yeah, remember what he was doing at Watford. Remember, he was earning £30,000 and he was carrying 2-3 women every week. Where is that success now? Where is he at the moment?
He's successful.
Iheanacho should be very, very
successful
careful.
failure.
He should do better than what
That's
he's
what
doing.
it is. There are failures who are successful as far as Mourinho is concerned. So he said it's
success in
failure.
Specialist in failure.
Specialist in failure. So he is successfully failing in his own self. But it is what it is. Wish Iheanacho the best. Definitely, he used to be a player after my heart. Very fantastic talent. Back from his Yemitela days when he played for Yemitela's team and under 17. I saw him as the next big thing. I saw him as
not the Yemitela's
team. Was it Yemitela's team?
Not Yemitela's team.
Which team?
It was after Yemitela that Iheanacho came.
Was it Ogu or something?
Yes, 2013.
Okay, and I saw him as a perfect 10.
2011.
I saw him as a perfect 10, but it didn't happen. All of a sudden. That move he made to, I still fought the move he made to Man City.
No, it's academy. In fact, Man City. See, Jerry, Iheanacho was the best player of that tournament. That move puts Iheanacho at a very good position. Iheanacho would have caught it in Man City. One of the problems he had with Man City was, like my analyst said, work ethic. Iheanacho is lazy.
He became lazy.
See, Pep Guardiola is a manager who is very rigid and he pays attention to details. There are certain things he wants you to do as a player. He likes to condition his players. Run like this, make this move like this. This is exactly what you need to do. He gave Iheanacho a couple of chances to actually excel in Manchester City. But he couldn't just do it. And that's exactly why they actually moved him to Leicester City. Now, we can say, okay, Manchester City at that point, the pressure was much. You have to, there are a lot of top talent. The likes of Mahrez was there. So, a lot was on his shoulders. Now, you move to Leicester City, where the competition there was very, very, way lesser than where you're coming from. I would have expected him to gain stability at Leicester City. But what happened? The same thing happened. He couldn't actually keep up to the pace at Leicester City. And that's exactly where he actually failed completely. Because if he had succeeded right there at Leicester City, by now he would have been one of the top players in Premier League. Perhaps even in middle team, but he would have gained a lot of respect because he would have been there for a couple of years. Maybe Everton now, maybe one of those teams. That's exactly how he would have been moving. Wilfred Ndidi is still very much there. They actually played together. So there's no reason why Wilfred would be there and he would have been he wouldn't be there. But because he got to Leicester City, he was struggling, and see, people talk about that season that he was talking about soap. Forgetting that before that season, Iheanacho was even struggling for Leicester City. There was no season you look at Iheanacho apart from that particular season that they won the FA Cup. It was not regular at any point until that particular season. And perhaps he has gained his footing. We're expecting him to actually keep up to the momentum. He couldn't. And that was where everything just, like you like to say, yam pepper scatter. Everything just, went into, what will I even call it? It just lost every ability he has as a player. Because after that season, his Nollywood appearance became very, very, consistent. And that's exactly where he failed completely. So if he wants to actually get it back, right? If he wants to get it back, I think he needs to actually understand that he's first a player. When he retires, he can now go to Asaba and face, Nollywood full time.
I know he was a client of one of those very prominent Nollywood actresses for the purpose of being anonymous. I will not say the name, but we all know the story, those behind the scene. Go and do your research. I've done mine, but I've decided to keep it to my chest.
Jerry, there was even a game, in a Super Eagles game. There was a time that, I don't know if you remember when the likes of Iheanacho, the coach, I can't remember who was the coach of the Super Eagles who was trying to actually take Iheanacho and 5 other guys out of the camp, right? A day before that game, these guys were actually partying and enjoying themselves, a lot happened before that game.
Yeah, I remember
so these are the sort of things that, when you look at him and you understand that this guy is actually not business-like. And it's not just him, Jerry, it's not just him. A good number, if I had 90% of Nigerian players, when they get to the top, where they start earning money and their family is settled, trust me, every single thing that actually took them to Europe is over.
They get carried away.
It happened to even our own Mikel.
And he had to be called
yes, it happened to Mikel.
He had to be called to order.
Yes, he was called to order.
Of his agent.
So it tells you about what is in fact an average African. It's a big problem for us.
All over the world, the thing is that youthful exuberance.
Jerry, when you are coming from a place where the economy is stable, a good number of time, when you start making money, it's not a problem. Look at Florian Wirtz.
When you have experienced extreme poverty,
so that's the
you
problem.
now suddenly become rich overnight. It now takes discipline to be able to control that success.
I mean, those that will not talk to you before, they are DMing you now. What do you expect?
You understand that?
That bomb that you've been admiring will now suddenly chat you on Facebook. Baba will not recollect that opportunity comes for once. I wonder what the case will do in that situation.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It is what it is. I'll leave it under the ramps so that we'll not go into having a fracas.
The last picture he posted says it all, so we know.
So evidence poor. It is.
Which picture be that?
People put it up so that producers will.
Say the Chelsea jersey.
No, I don't know. Anyway, I can't say it.
I don't know.
I don't know
what you guys talking about.
I don't know. It is what it is. But let's talk about what's happening over in Europe. And it looks like Ademola Lookman's situation is looking more interesting. Former Inter Milan striker, talking about Christian Vieri, has backed Inter's potential move for the Nigerian winger, Ademola Lookman, who is close to joining the club from Atalanta. And Inter has offered 40 million euros, but Atalanta is reportedly demanding around 50 million euros for the talented player. They should get this deal done as quickly as possible. Vieri says so. He's a legend. He has seen the talent in Lookman and says, this is what is good for Inter Milan.
These are the people who can actually speak, not just in Inter Milan now, in Italy.
Yeah,
and the people will listen, yes. Yeah. I mean, he did the Azzurri proud. He's a key figure. One of the, in fact, when you look back at Inter Milan and say, okay, Inter Milan, I enjoyed glorious days in the 90s. These are the people you look at. When you talk about the Italian national team, these are the people you look at. Just like what we were talking about Chiellini the other day when he gave you his opinion about Osimhen to Juventus. You know, these are the figures that, you know, a couple of years later, the club will not forget. Because they have they've given their all to the club and they have a very rich history. You know, they've done the incredible for the club and they've shown extreme loyalty. Christian Vieri is one of those players, and I mean, for him to be telling the Italian national team, the Inter Milan side to, you know, get Ademola Lookman, it means that deal is most likely going to happen. And yes, it's going to also be an upgrade for Ademola Lookman. I can't wait to see that happen because I think he has completely outgrown Atlanta. And if he continues to stay in Atlanta, it's going to really affect his stock. It's going to affect, you know, his talent. For a man who got as high as 14th place in the Ballon d'Or, I think we'll have to actually, he has to be aiming to actually go further. And there's no other way you can actually go further by actually joining, you know, a team that's, you know, you feel its quality that will really complement your talent. And it's a good one for me if you can actually really make that move. He's the best player in Africa for crying out loud.
All right, Mayowa, Vieri says it's good to go. Here we go. So just 10 million in separating Inter and Atlanta agreeing. I think Inter should pay the money, or Atlanta should just let go. The guy has paid his dues.
Well, I think he had a gentleman agreement with them when Bayern Leverkusen were on his case the last time, and then decided to stay one more season. I think Atlanta should honor the deal and let him go now. That's number one. Number two, a Vieri speaking up for you goes a long way. These are people that will speak and the club will listen to them. Vieri is a legend for Inter Milan. And then, you know, when he opens his mouth, you don't hear Vieri speak anyhow. When he speaks, you know, that is somebody, that's a legend, you know, standing as a guarantor for you, that he believes in what you can do. Despite the fact that we can see, it's very clear to the blind. But, you know, a legend speaking for you goes a long way. And I will not be surprised if before the end of the transfer window, the deal is struck. We might end up seeing Inter Milan part with 50 million because I feel an Ademola Lookman at 27 brings a whole lot of value, will bring a whole lot of value, you know, to the 50 million that they are bringing in. It's going to replicate that 50 million in many places in terms of winning the league, having a shot at winning the league, you know, competing in the Champions League and, you know, domestically too. So, yeah, I would not be surprised if the deal is done. I think before the end of the transfer window, I think Ademola Lookman becomes an Inter Milan player.
All right, it is what it is. Okay, time really fast spent. We just have to go. I would have loved to talk about Newcastle United as hands off. So it's all Liverpool for Ekitike right now. And I didn't even know that French police also collect bribe too. So it's not only Nigerian police and other police. Did I say it? Anyway, it's not the other police, but even the French police is being investigated alongside Mbappe for giving them money. But it is what it is. We'll have to go. Big thanks, Ikechukwu.
It's good to be here, Jerry.
Big thanks, Maiwa. Big thanks to the guys behind the scenes, talking about the likes of Alex, Victor, Paul, and of course, Hassan. My name is Jerry Apelahai, saying thanks for being a part of the show. And to meet again, stay safe, and if not doing it at all, do it the sports way.